All right, this is Professor Olson taking a look at your hero portraits on Friday, starting off with La Kenya. So you're doing Maya Angelou. Let's zoom out a little bit. Uh, so you've got a sort of foundational start here. Now, one thing I want you to think about right away is what's my overall composition? Because right now it's almost like a poster. It's cropped on four sides. This could be sort of more freestanding. If it's a t-shirt, you could break out of the frame. So consider that. The second thing is, as you're defining your grays, first of all, you have too many grays. There's this gray, this gray, this gray. I don't know if this is different. So too many grays. So you got to simplify the grays. Think about the face in terms of right now you're defining it almost like line work, like you're creating the eye, which is darker than the face. This would be typically lighter than the face. The nose is all one solid shape. Think about how it's defined by light and shadow. So if the light is coming from the right, there's a shadow on the left that would define the nose. There'd be dark shadows under the nostrils. There'll be a shadow on the upper lip and a little highlight on the lower lip. So right now you're really not effectively using gray to create light and shadow. You need to observe how it looks that way. You can take your photo reference into Photoshop and just as a point of reference, sort of decrease the channels, decrease the threshold so that you get a little more contrast to help you sort of guide what you're looking at there. Typically the eyes are not full circles. They're usually cropped a little bit by the eyelids. You know, you got a stroke on there. So you got some work to do, but just think big picture first. What's my overall composition? What do I want it to look like? Uh, and then secondly, how do I create light and shadow to create shape and dimension? All right, Megan, so Lil Pete, this is nice work. It looks like a sort of characteristic photo and you very carefully detailed a lot of the stuff going on in his bracelet and tattoos and you know all this stuff. So this is some fine craftsmanship. Now, composition wise, you again are just really taking a photo and you've got it cropped on two sides. Could it be more freestanding? Are there other elements in the background? Think about how you really want the overall thing to look. You've got these very jaggy, almost look like artifacts from an auto trace or something, whereas everything else is really well crafted. And maybe consider smoothing, using a smooth tool and sort of creating a little more intentional looking shapes there. But overall, it looks really good. It's hard to tell 100%, but it looks like you get the right number of grays. You can check that in Illustrator. Uh, it's the updated version. Yeah, so you've got some additional elements. But I still think that the crop on the bottom and right could be more custom instead of just cutting them off. So think about how you might do that. All right, Alejandra. Uh, so this is Brian. You've got that kind of hero thing going on with this diamond shape. Um, I'm trying to see. Let's see. So you've got this dark gray, this gray. It looks like maybe you have too many grays. You could probably, and then the background is not filled. This is just the default gray. So the background has to be a color. It could be either black or white, I would suggest. It could be one of your grays as well. Everything looks really jaggy. I don't know if this is because you exported from InDesign without a proper link or something. So clean it up a little bit if that's not the case. Baseball shape. Yeah, so this is like home plate. Home plate actually has vertical sides, but it's it's actually, if you look at history, it's a map of Fort Sumter. So anyway, this is a great start. Jersey stands out really dominant. I don't know if that's super important. If it is, then leave it. If it's not, I would get rid of it because it's drawing a lot of attention right now. Overall, some good work here. All right, Veronica. So this is sort of very early start. You've got some good craftsmanship and good detail. I'm not sure why the background's blue. You've got this gray, and then you have black, and then white would be where the blue is. So you have some issues here with the teeth and stuff. Sometimes it's not a great idea to like define the teeth too closely. So you might simplify that a little bit. But then what's your overall concept? What's gonna create the background? What's the overall kind of look of the thing? So I know you're still working, so yeah, so you're having trouble. So you can consider line work part of it. So that can work in conjunction with the shading. But I think you're off to a very good start. All right, Samantha. This is a very interesting and compelling piece of artwork. Demi Lovato. A couple things jump out. First of all, you're not effectively using gray as light and shadow. Everything is super flat. You've added highlights that are very minimal, sort of random places, so they don't really function as highlights. The nose is defined by a lot of line work, but I would say maybe your light gray, this gray, could be a lot lighter and serve the basis of the flesh tone as you have it here. And then the dark gray could come in and create shape around the chin. Typically, the upper lip is a little darker. The lower lip gets a highlight. It looks like she has rabbit teeth. This is not really how she looks. So I would simplify the mouth a little bit. If there's teeth, they should probably go all the way across. Um, these two little squares seem very odd. I know you're still working on this, but light and shadow, that's what you're thinking about. This seems very cut off, like this should be arced a little more. And then maybe add some texture to the hair. I do like your concept. Your composition is good. So you're off to a good start in that respect, but you just need to really think about how light and shadow affects the objects. Juan, all right. So this looks like you just really kind of popped a photo into Illustrator and auto traced it, and you're just getting started maybe, but you got a long way to go here. You need to think about your composition and how is it framed up? Is there a containing shape? Are there background elements? How you really kind of do this? I'm not sure if the photo is just coming through and you still haven't done all your artwork yet. So you need to keep working on this. Um, let's see, this is uh, Juan. No, here's Juan's. Oh, I just saw that. All right. All right. Mike. Let's see. There's Mike's. No, you're doing Kobe. Okay, I don't see your artwork. Chris. Let's see. Quentin. Uncle Quentin. All right. You got a fun concept. It's freestanding. Bit of Halloween going on because he was born on Halloween, so that's fun. A lot of good things happening here. You have the same issue now. You're trying to sort of translate the photo, and you penciled out some of the shadows and some of the highlights. Sort of put all that aside, put the photo aside for a minute, and just think about light and shadow, creating a highlight on the nose, a shadow on the nostrils, how the lips are defined. Right now, the shapes feel kind of random and kind of hard to tell what's going on. So you need to simplify probably some of them, but think of it in terms of light and how the light, where is the light source? It looks like it's from the left, coming, hitting the nose. So then there'd be some shadows on this side of the nose. Um, these sort of scribbly shapes, like maybe simplify them into simple shapes. So And that's it for this section. All right. In this section, did I miss one? Hold on. I think I did. No. All right. All right. Lyric, you're doing your grandmother. So right now, this just looks like an auto trace from a photo. I want you to think about what the overall composition is. What are the other things that you're going to add to this? Is there some favorite thing that she did, or if there's some things that you want to have in there with her? Is there a unique style to this? This looks like a sufficiently translated photo. Now you'd want to like sort of pen tool out the shapes to create your take on it. It looks like it's in progress. So this is kind of a low res version. Make sure you know how to place this in InDesign. And so when you get this kind of greenish hue tint to the grays, that's because the saturation is up. You want to take the saturation to 0. So think about that. All right. Tremaine, this is beautiful artwork. Very nice. Great use of grayscale. Good composition. Unique. Let's see. This is Erica Badu, and I've never seen her with a top hat, but that seems great. So just some minor details. It looks like the right number of grays. The way you've contrasted the white in her eyes with the background makes them sort of haunting and draws your attention really nicely. This shadow that falls over her face, it looks like there might be a stroke here. If there is, take it out, because that ruins the effect. The upper lip might get a light gray, a little bit of light gray. And then some of these shapes in the hat just need a little more attention to clean them up, but this is really excellent work. Good job on this. Even these crystals, to do those in just 2 grays and white is really an accomplishment. So good job with all that. All right, Joanna, you still have to show your work. So just keep in mind the entire assignment's due Sunday. It's Friday. So if you don't have anything so far, you're kind of really behind the 8 ball a bit. If you run into trouble, reach out and let me know. All right, Carla, Walt Disney. I've seen a lot of Walt Disney. This is a famous photo of him, but you've actually taken a different approach, which kind of gives it almost like Matisse cutout feeling, which I kind of like. I think it kind of works. It kind of breaks some of the rules, but putting this containing stroke around it kind of helps. So I think you're doing good here. This little white separation on the mustache feels odd to me. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Take a step back from your photo reference and just sort of give it the once over to see if there's areas you want to like change, clean it up. Yeah, there it is again. All right. Jacqueline, so this is your friend Charlize. Great composition, the moon, the roses, her face couched in there, really great. Now, here's one thing you're struggling with. This artwork of the roses, there's an inconsistent visual style. So this artwork of the roses has incredible detail. And I hope that you created these yourself, but if you didn't, that's a bit unfortunate because I would say with that kind of detail, the face should have at least as much detail because that's the focal point, the face. If not, I would simplify these roses a bit, but add detail to this. This right now feels a little unkempt, like some of these shapes look like sort of random artifacts from an auto trace and not intentional. You got 3 different grays here too. So you got to have 2 grays, black and white. The moon is just a geometric shape. It's okay as a containing shape, but again, try to create a consistent visual language across all 3 elements so that they look like they go together. They're part of the same illustration. So just cleaning up, make everything intentional. That's what I want you to do. So this is what I wanted. It's not just, it didn't just happen. All right. Cameron, Jimmy Butler. All right, this is a little confusing. All right, so you got a red tint to everything. That's because, like I said before, your saturation's up. You want to bring that down to 0 in the grayscale version. The light and shadow here don't make any sense. I'd have to see your photo reference to figure out what's going on. I mean, it's like he's lit from the back, from both sides, and cast shadow on the front of the face. So right now it's not really working. Also, you've got a kind of cartoony style to this, but are there other elements you're going to add? Game face. Yeah, so maybe there's some basketball imagery or something like that. I don't know. But right now, it's really not working. It feels like he's been hit in the face with a blob of ink or something. So take another look. All right, Austin. Oh yeah, this is Hoot. All right, so way too many grays. This looks like you just sort of auto traced the photo. It's not any sort of composition that makes sense for a t-shirt. It's just cropped on 4 sides. This gun has a lot of complexity, which is going to be difficult to render. You really are going to want to focus on the face. It's just not, it's not complete. It's not working right. It doesn't really have a vision yet that I can see. So you got a lot more work to do on this. Let's see what you said. A great story about why they're your hero, but more work to do to get this into shape. So think first of all, what is my overall composition going to look like? Is there containing shape? Are there words in there? Is there background elements? And then you got to consolidate your grays. You got like 5 grays, I think. And you can't just auto trace the photo. You have to think intentionally about what you want it to look like. So work on that. All right. Coutinho, you're doing Bruce Lee. So this is a good start. The dragon, I would say his head could maybe be bigger in the circle, maybe even busting out or something, but not necessarily. You're using this light gray, this dark gray. Some of this very faint line work, I feel like it could be beefed up a little bit. More shadow. Maybe your dark gray becomes a bit of highlight in the hair, so it's not just one black shape. The dragons, I don't know why they shouldn't both be facing left. Maybe this one should flip, face to the right. It's a good foundation. I feel like it just needs a little more craftsmanship and attention to sort of clean it up and make it more intentional. Your light gray is pretty close to white, so maybe that comes down a little in brightness. But overall, good job. You got a concept, so that's good. All right, Tyrone. So you gave me an Illustrator file. All right, MLK. So let's see. So you want to use the text as a background element. All right, so think about the framing of the whole thing, how it's going to look as a shape, right? You don't want to just do a square page if you're doing this. This is challenging to do the typography right. In terms of King's face, you've got a great start there. I'm just going to grab it all and I'll demonstrate this for you. So I've selected his portrait in Illustrator. If I go to edit colors, here, hold on. My mouse is not working right. Sorry, I need a new mouse. Deselect that. Edit colors, recolor artwork. See right here, recolor artwork. This shows you every gray being used in there. So you've got this gray, two different, a very, very light gray that's almost white. This also is almost white, and then black and white. So you got too many grays by several. Now, in the video on the assignment, I'm not going to do it right here, but I show you how to consolidate your grays to make sure that you've only got 4, because that's what you need to do going forward. Consider how he sits on the page. You've got him sort of cropped on one side, kind of organic shape here. So maybe there's a containing shape for the whole thing, and the words are in the background from that. That might simplify it a little bit for you. And I wouldn't worry about getting all the text in if you just want to get some sort of keywords in there so that you see those. And make sure you submit PDFs as instructed, or JPEG, for the assignment. All right, Ebony, your cousin Michael. All right, so this looks like a good start. You still sort of need more of an idea. Throwing some stars in. You know, you can do some fun things with stars. These stars, let's go back to Illustrator, just demo. So when you make a star in Illustrator, you go to the star tool, you click and drag and you get a star. Now this is a certain kind of star. It's all in mouse trouble. Make it black. This is a certain kind of star that is symmetrical all the way around. If you hold down, if you do the star thing and you hold down the Option key and drag out, you get like what I would call like a Texas star. You see the difference in those two stars? This is more like the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. This is really like a pentagram. So if that's the kind of star you want, hold down the Option key when you drag it out. Now the other thing you can do with stars, I click here and I just click once, it brings up the dialog box. I can make more than 5 points. I could make like an 8-point star. I could make a 20-point star. So there's a lot of fun you can have with stars as an extra item. But this one is just sort of the default. Like I click star and there it is. So I think in your case, you probably want this Hollywood star. So back there, based on what you're saying about him. Too many grays, looks like. Make the shapes more intentional. Seems like you're still working on this. So maybe add a little bit of highlights to the hair. All right, Julia, this is Felix Kjellberg. So this is a fairly good portrait, but it doesn't have much of a concept or an idea. Electronic and on brand. So maybe they're the elements you're going to add to the background to sort of enhance it a bit. It's a good start. Some of the areas like these the little line work, maybe could beef them up. Let me just show you another tool in Illustrator. So if you make a line, stroke, I'll just make a stroke. This tool here is called the width tool. You can grab any line and change the width. Hold on. Let me draw another line here. Oh, my problem is my line doesn't have any width to begin with. All right. All right. I swear this works. Hold on. Oh, let's just make a square. So I've got those lines on the square. I'm going to grab the width tool. And I can drag out the width on these. Change the profile of the lines. So this is pretty useful to make more custom line work that you want. By the way, you can do it more than once. So I can like squeeze it together in certain areas. If you do an oval, for instance, and maybe the bottom represents a shadow area. So it's like a deeper shadow right off the bat. So the width tool, it's kind of useful. So in your case, Julia, where you have these thin lines here, you can maybe play with the width and give it a little more dimension. But it's a good start. Oh, there's a concept. Sorry. Good job. I would love to see him a little bigger in the frame. But yeah, good. All right. So that's all we got. Hopefully you got a critique. If you didn't, you're behind the eight ball, reach out to me. I can help you one-on-one if you're really stuck. And I look forward to seeing your final work.